3, 2, 1. Oh! Woo-hoo-hoo! Yeah! Feel that in my groin. Woo! It's crazy. Welcome to the garage on Ride By, and today, as you can see, we have a very special car, the MG Cyberster. So the Cyberster is MG's first all-electric sports car. It has 2 electric motors. It costs 4.5 million pesos. But what does that get you? So along with all-wheel drive, you get 2 motors that punch out 537 horsepower and 720 Newton meters of torque. Can you imagine that? That is a lot. And to be honest, that is the kind of output you would expect from a gasoline-powered car costing more than twice as much. But this one, 4.5. Suddenly, mukhang mura, di ba? But more than the power is, well, look at it. You're getting a very beautiful car with some very trick engineering over here. So, as you can see, it has these scissor-style doors na I appreciate na napag-isipan talaga ng engineer how to make it as easy to use as possible. So to open it or to lower it, you have this panel over here, all right? So I'll just press this here. And then, kung ikaw naman, pabuksan mo ang kotse, and you want to open it, there's this button over here. Also, may sensor siya. So, let's say may na-detection na object o may tao na baka masaktan kung bumuka siya, it will stop opening. There. See? Galing. And of course, once you're inside, like I am now, I can open or lower the doors with these buttons over here. This is for the driver, this is for the passenger. Alright? So, galing. And then, of course, the top, it's canvas, but it's power operated. And it goes up and down in about 15 seconds. So, para sa mga taong hindi nahihiya na makita. So, obviously, it's a sports car, and you don't expect the sports car to be very roomy or to have a huge trunk. Even so, let's see how much we can fit in the trunk of the Cyberster. Aha, this button over here. So, okay, if you can look closely, you can put gym bags here, couple of gym bags, backpacks, maleta, forget about it. Unless yung maliit na carry-on. But that's it. Now let's go to the front. Actually curious what I want to see the motor. At least one of the motors. And okay, that was anticlimactic. You can't see. It's all plastic, covered by plastic, because sabi ng mga MG engineers siguro, wag mo nang pakailaman yan dahil baka masira mo lang. Okay, so this panel here, as indicated, is for your washer fluid reservoir. Buksan natin. Okay. This one here, I don't know, pero may warning sign na do not open. So let's open it. Coolant? Coolant. It's a coolant. Another panel here. May icon ng payong. Read the manual before opening. Sige, wala akong manual. Nakakatamad. Okay, that's for the small battery. Obviously, the real battery is underneath the chassis. It is, I think, 77 kilowatt hours or something like that. It's a big battery because this car is rated to have a range of around 400 kilometers. I think that's long enough for an electric car. Although in reality, in real world use, if you're going to be enjoying the car a lot, Probably a safer range to estimate is around 300. Okay. This is a two-seater, so it's expected na medyo masikip siya. Although, for most adults, it's okay. It's a reasonable fit. Hindi naman siya sikip ng, say, for example, a Miata, no? Okay, so let's close the door here. So actually, after all, nakakaaliw yung pag-open ng bukas ng pintuan eh. Kaya lang medyo skandaloso siya. Kunyari, bababa ka. So, bababa yung pasahero mo sa mall, sa hotel. Talagang ano siya eh, attention seeking. Pero, it is. So, steering wheel here. Okay, if you notice, yung seat adjustments mo are here. So, it's easy to reach. Then your steering wheel looks like it's a racing wheel, flat bottom. You get these buttons here, yung super sport mode, para full power ka. Then you can access these menus over here. You can access the menus with these buttons over here. This panel here seems to be inspired by a fighter plane cockpit. So this one is for your vehicle condition, your trip odometer, yung performance mo sa track. If you want to take it to a track, may lap timer siya, may G sensor. And then may alarm notification siya. Like for now, the right rear tire pressure is low. So we're gonna have that checked out later. This panel over here, the center panel, this is for your climate control, state of charge, and your other features like lighting. You can opt to lower or close your windows with this touch panel over here. And then yung mga driving aids mo. So meron siyang intelligent cruise control, intelligent dodge, which will, as the name implies, will swerve the car away from an object, in theory. May speed warning, cruise voice control, radar alarm, forward collision avoidance. And you can set the sensitivity. This is actually pretty good because I was driving home one night and I was overtaking something and then biglang pumreno yung kotse sa harap ko. So, inunahan pa niya ako. Pumreno ng konti yung MG even before I actually got a chance to step on the brake. So, pretty good. Wala kang shifter, obviously, because it is a single-speed electric transmission. So, all your modes are here. So, you can park, reverse, neutral, and drive. You have two tiny cup holders here. Hindi kakasya ang venti. You have a little slot here for your cards and your change. Isang maliit na console box for your junk. Wala siyang wireless charging station, so you just have to plug in your USB over here. There's a little storage area here behind the seats, but it's only good for a very small bag. And that's it, actually. All right, so let's go for a drive. Okay, so we're still inside the subdivision, so steady muna tayo. So, pretty intuitive naman yung cockpit. Put it in drive and just go. I'm in comfort mode right now, so the power delivery is very smooth. Okay. Now the suspension here, I've actually been driving this car for several days now and it's really good. It is composed of double wishbones up front and a multi-link system at the back. And it's been tuned very well for nimble handling because the lead engineer for this was one of the suspension guys, the Michael Schumacher. I just can't remember his name right now. Pero this is very important because even though it's a relatively small car and small sports cars are usually lightweight roadsters, this one actually weighs more than 2,000 kilos. So singbigat siya ng pickup truck. And the reason for that is because of the battery. Mabigat talaga yung battery. And it has to be that way until they develop more advanced technology with lighter and energy-dense batteries. It's just how it is with electric cars. So anyway, driving the car here in a normal city setting, you don't really have to think about it too much except that medyo mababa yung ground clearance, so you have to take it easy over humps, otherwise sasayad ka and medyo masakit sa puwet. Pero in terms of acceleration, as expected, you've got so much torque. Overtaking, you just think about it and then boom, natapos ka na. Even in comfort mode. Now, if you put it in super sport mode, that incorporates your launch control, and ang 0 to 100 km/h sprint nito is around 3 seconds, or maybe even less. That's insane. And I wouldn't recommend it for people who are not used to handling this much power because it's easy to get into an accident. Pero, for relaxed around town cruising, this car is really enjoyable. And right now, I'm driving with the top down because that's what you do when you have a convertible. And though, sa totoo lang, medyo nakakapanibago kasi titingnan ka talaga ng mga tao. Feeling nila siguro, pag tinanong, ay, hindi pala artista. Ano siguro to? Baka hindi yan hindi naman eh. Baka media. Yun na lang, di ba? Alright. So, with the top down and the windows up, it's actually easy to hold the conversation. And the wind buffeting at low speeds is negligible. Okay, so it's actually, I've tested this at higher speeds up to around 60 kilometers per hour. It's still quite easy to have a conversation with your companion. Pero anything above that, medyo mahangin na talaga and you'll want to bring the top up, which I'm about to do now. The thing with this top, it will lower and it'll go up and down in about 15 seconds, up to a speed of around 40 kilometers per hour. So you don't need to be at a standstill just to lower or raise the top. Right, so MG's really sorted out the suspension in this car. Even on less than smooth asphalt, it's a good ride. Hindi siya matagtag, hindi siya sakit sa katawan like some sports cars are prone to do. Steering is pretty good. I can get a good feel for the road, and the braking, of course, because it's assisted with regen braking, is strong. The brakes are by Pirelli, and the tires are by the brakes are by Brembo, and the tires are by Pirelli. So wala ka na masasabi. I mean, how else can you improve on it? All right. As for visibility, ergonomics, there's not a lot to complain about. You know, I have a lot of room to move about. I don't feel constricted. Of course, because of the top configuration, headroom is limited. I'm 5'8" and ganyan na lang natitira. Mga 6-footer, this is a no-go for you guys. Smaller people, walang problema. Wider people, still good because these buckets, they're not too constricting. So if you're an XL, XSL sized fella, you'll be fine. In terms of the other ergonomics and the usability of the touchscreen, doon medyo nihirapan ka ng konti because the font size of the touchscreens, especially here, are on the smaller side. So you have to take your eyes off the road to change something like the window setting or your driving aids and all of that. So it's best to be at a stop if you really need to adjust something. Kasi otherwise, it's really distracting. And then, sadly, I can't comment on the audio system, on the Bose audio system, because I just couldn't get the CarPlay or the Bluetooth system to work. Sabi nila, there's something that MG has to look at with this particular unit. Now, in terms of the display, so these 3 panels here look nice in terms of feeling fighter plane ka. But I don't know why they missed out on putting a head-up display. I mean, of all the cars that could use a head-up display na bagay, it's this one. On the highway, this is actually a very nice car to drive. It's very relaxing, which is not something you can say for most sports cars. Just because the suspension has been tuned to give a very composed and stable ride. Na tahimik siya, even despite the canvas top. Well, at least at highway speeds. Of course, if you're going faster, you will really hear the rush of air in this area. Now, in terms of acceleration, wala akong masasabi. Off the line, boom, para kang nasa space shuttle. Mid-range is also good. For example, you need to overtake 80 to 100, that quick burst. You just think about it, it's done. Even from 100 to 140, kunyari, you're feeling frisky, it's so easy, it will actually just make you laugh at how ridiculously fast this car is at mid-range. However, because it's electric, there's only a single gear. Wala kang mga ibang gears, walang 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Isa lang talaga. It's limited to around, the top speed is limited to around 200 or so kilometers per hour. So, if your game is top speed, you'll be disappointed in this because mabibiting ka talaga at 200 because you really spun out the electric motors already. However, most people probably don't really look at exploring 200 and above that much. I mean, even on a big bike, unless sport bike, probably not, di ba? So, it's probably a non-issue for most people. The only real consideration you have is really the range of this thing, even with a big battery. Because it's electric, you're always constantly thinking, okay, you're always monitoring your range and all of that. So hindi ka talaga makabiyahe as far out from the city as you normally would with a gasoline engine sports car. You know, until at least the EV charging infrastructure is really so expansive na bawat bayan, bawat city meron na. This is something to consider with the Cyberster. Woo! Wow. Now that is a sweet ride. You know, there are probably some other better cars out there, but honestly, for the price, you can't possibly get any better for this kind of money. You know, 4.5, the choices aren't that much. So if you want an all-electric sports car that ventures into supercar performance already, at least in terms of acceleration, but not top speed, this is the car for you. And it's a two-door, it's great for Sunday drives and all of that. So now, about our overall ratings. For the first metric, performance, it has incredible acceleration, off the line and mid-range, but on the top end, you're kind of limited because it's an electric, it only has one single gear. Top speed is only around 200 kilometers per hour. So in terms of supercar territory, nah. But for sports cars, yes. And in reality, most people will never go above 200 kilometers per hour for more than a few seconds in their life. Legally. Unless nasa track ka. And even then, you probably won't have the skill to safely do it. So for performance, it's all electric. But again, I also have to consider the range. In real-world driving, the range is only about 300 kilometers. So it's always something to consider. Saan ko i-charge ito? And how far can I go before medyo masistress na ako? Because it's electric. Hindi mo naman pwedeng i-charge siya ng basta-basta. So I have to give it only an 8.5. For the handling, it doesn't handle like a Miata, neither does it handle like a Porsche Carrera, but it's somewhere in between. Considering its size, it actually likes to dance. So I'll give it to MG for really engineering the out of this car to drive better than it actually weighs. So for handling, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. For styling, well, ano masasabi ko? I mean, like, can you imagine making this look even better than it already does? Scissor-style doors na sa totoo lang, I'm kind of worried about the long-term longevity of such a system. Top-down, you got these ground effect aerodynamic packages over here. 10 out of 10. For utility, it's a sports car. How useful do you think a sports car can be? Although they tried to put as many little storage spaces as possible with what they had, with what they could do. So I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. Value for money. Again, 4.5 million. Ano yung mabibili mo in that price range? Go a little lower, you get something like Toyota Yaris GRS. GR Yaris. You can get something like a GR Yaris. For about the same amount or a little higher, you get a Ford Mustang GT, which is a traditional gasoline V8. Pero to match that kind of performance, you have to get something like a Carrera 911, which is easily twice or maybe even 3 times the price if you even have it in stock. So, value for money, I have to give it a 9 out of 10 in the world of sports cars. Finally, for the overall rating, what you see is what you get, and you get a lot if you're talking about power and style and technological ingenuity. So I have to give it a 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments. What's up guys, Andy here. I'm the guy who just presented the car you watched a while ago. Now I need a small favor to ask from you guys. If you could just take the time to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, we'd really appreciate it. Because it helps us to keep growing the channel and keep making comprehensive reviews of the cars and the motorcycles that you are interested to buy or to just admire. So thanks for your support and keep watching Ride By.